The Buddha, the real purpose of life, not what 99% think. Why do we live? What truly gives life meaning? These questions have troubled humanity for centuries. We chase success, pursue happiness, and fill our days with goals. Yet a quiet voice within often asks, is this all there is? At some point in life, most of us experience this feeling. After achieving a long-awaited goal or enjoying a moment of pleasure, a subtle emptiness slowly returns. It creates the uneasy sense that there must be something more, something deeper than the next promotion, the next vacation, or the next moment of excitement. Consider the stories of people who seem to have everything. Hollywood actor Jim Carrey, at the peak of his fame and success, once said, "I wish everyone could get rich and famous and have everything they ever dreamed of, so they can see that it's not the answer." His words reveal an important truth. Success and happiness, as we usually define them, may not be the ultimate purpose of life. So if wealth, fame, and pleasure are not the answer, then what is? To understand this, we need to look at two layers of insight. First, we explore why even when we achieve what we desire, we often remain unsatisfied. Second, we uncover a deeper truth discovered more than 2,500 years ago by Gautama Buddha, a truth that completely reframes the purpose of life. In this journey, we will begin with the surface layer, through modern psychology and real-life experiences, why people pursue goals and happiness, yet still feel unfulfilled. Then we will move into the deeper layer, an ancient insight from the Buddha. He realized that the ultimate goal of life is not happiness as we normally imagine it, but freedom from suffering.
Chapter 1. The Modern Misunderstanding. Modern society often teaches that the purpose of life is to be happy. From childhood, we are encouraged to pursue goals, get good grades, build a successful career, find love, buy a house, and enjoy exciting experiences. Beneath all these ambitions lies the belief that achieving them will bring lasting happiness and fulfillment. In many Western cultures, the pursuit of happiness is even seen as a fundamental right. Success is often measured through career achievements, social status, and material comfort. Advertisements constantly suggest that more is better, more money, more luxury, more pleasure, promising that these will lead to a happy life. Yet, surprisingly, the constant chase for happiness can leave people feeling less satisfied. Research by psychologist Iris Mouse found that the more people intensely pursue happiness, the more likely they are to feel lonely and disappointed. When happiness becomes a goal we try to force, it often slips further away. Part of the problem is that happiness quickly fades after achievements. Studies by Harvard psychologist Dan Gilbert show that people rapidly adapt to positive changes, a process known as hedonic adaptation. A promotion, a new purchase, or a major achievement may feel exciting at first, but soon it becomes normal, and we begin chasing the next goal. Social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook also create the illusion that everyone else is constantly happy. We see only highlight moments, vacations, celebrations, and successes, while struggles remain hidden. Comparing our real lives to these curated images can quietly create dissatisfaction. In this modern misunderstanding, we have confused the means with the true purpose of life. Success, comfort, and achievements are not meaningless, but they are not the final goal either. They are only temporary experiences, pointing toward a deeper truth about what truly brings lasting peace.
Chapter 2. Reflections from the Pinnacle. We often believe that if we had a little more money, more fame, or more success, we would finally feel satisfied. Yet the reflections of people who reached the very top often reveal a different truth. Outer success does not automatically fill inner emptiness. Even great minds felt this. Isaac Newton, after revolutionizing science, once compared himself to a child playing with shells on the shore, while the vast ocean of truth still lay undiscovered. Despite his achievements, he felt there was always more beyond his grasp. Similarly, Leonardo da Vinci, celebrated as a brilliant genius, reportedly expressed regret near the end of his life that his work had not reached the level he desired. Even extraordinary accomplishments did not fully silence his inner dissatisfaction. In modern times, Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple Inc., achieved wealth and global success. Yet near the end of his life, he reflected on time lost with family, realizing that relationships mattered more than achievements. Fame shows the same pattern. Michael Jackson, known as the King of Pop, once admitted, "I'm never pleased with anything," despite worldwide success. These reflections from the pinnacle of success reveal a simple truth. Wealth, fame, and recognition cannot remove the deeper restlessness of the human mind. If success alone cannot satisfy us, perhaps the real question is not how to gain more, but how to understand the source of our dissatisfaction.
Chapter 3. The Real Mechanics of Desire. Why do we chase the things we chase? On the surface, it seems simple. We pursue pleasure because we want to feel happy. But a deeper look shows that much of what we call the pursuit of happiness is actually an attempt to escape discomfort, such as stress, boredom, or loneliness. Gautama Buddha explained this in the Salatha Sutta. When people experience pain or dissatisfaction, they instinctively reach for something pleasurable to distract themselves, scrolling through Instagram, eating comfort food, or seeking achievements. These pleasures provide temporary relief, but they do not remove the underlying discomfort. Buddhist teachings compare this to scratching an itch. Scratching feels good, but the pleasure is only relief from irritation. In the same way, many pleasures are simply short-lived relief from discomfort. This cycle creates what Buddhism calls dukkha, a constant sense of dissatisfaction. As Viktor Frankl observed, happiness cannot be chased directly. It arises as a byproduct of deeper understanding and meaningful living. Recognizing this cycle is the first step toward real inner freedom. When we begin to see this clearly, our perspective changes. Instead of endlessly chasing new pleasures to escape discomfort, we start to question the cycle itself. This shift in understanding opens the door to a deeper path, one that seeks not temporary relief, but genuine peace of mind. This realization was exactly what Gautama Buddha discovered more than 2,500 years ago. By understanding the nature of desire and suffering, he revealed that true freedom comes not from satisfying every craving, but from seeing through the cycle that creates them.
Chapter 4. The Buddha's Insight. Gautama Buddha, born Siddhartha Gautama, was raised as a prince surrounded by luxury, comfort, and protection from the harsh realities of the world. His father hoped to shield him from suffering and ensure he would become a great ruler. Yet despite living a life filled with pleasure and privilege, Siddhartha felt a deep sense that something was missing. When he eventually left the palace and encountered sickness, old age, and death for the first time, he realized that suffering and change are unavoidable parts of human life. This realization stirred a profound question in his heart. Is there a way to overcome suffering? Determined to find the answer, Siddhartha left his royal life behind and began a long spiritual journey. After years of searching, practicing meditation, and reflecting deeply on the nature of existence, he finally attained enlightenment while meditating beneath the Bodhi tree. In that moment of awakening, he understood the true nature of suffering and the path that leads beyond it. From then on, he became known as the Buddha, meaning the awakened one. The Buddha's insight was later expressed through the Four Noble Truths. The first truth teaches that life inevitably contains suffering, dissatisfaction, and uncertainty. The second truth explains that this suffering arises from craving, attachment, and the constant desire for things to be different from how they are. The third truth reveals a hopeful message. Suffering can end when craving and attachment are released. The fourth truth provides a practical path to that freedom through the Noble Eightfold Path, which guides people toward wisdom, ethical living, and mental clarity. Importantly, the Buddha did not ask people to follow his teachings blindly. Instead, he encouraged individuals to examine life carefully
and discover the truth through their own understanding and experience. His teachings offer not just philosophy, but a practical way to cultivate peace, awareness, and compassion in everyday life. Through this path, one can gradually move beyond the endless cycle of craving and dissatisfaction and discover a deeper sense of freedom and inner peace.
Chapter 5. Happiness is not the end of suffering. Before exploring the path in practice, it is important to understand the difference between pursuing happiness and ending suffering. Modern psychology increasingly supports the insight of Gautama Buddha that chasing happiness directly often leads to disappointment. Happiness, as we usually think of it, is a temporary emotion that comes and goes, making it an unstable foundation for life. Studies show that people who constantly pressure themselves to be happy often become more anxious and dissatisfied. When happiness becomes a goal to achieve at every moment, the mind begins evaluating everything. Am I happy enough? Why don't I feel happier? Ironically, this constant focus can actually block genuine joy. In contrast, when people focus on meaningful actions, helping others, growing, or living with purpose, happiness often appears naturally. Psychiatrist Viktor Frankl observed that happiness cannot be chased. It arises as a byproduct of living with meaning and responsibility. In this sense, happiness is like a passing breeze, pleasant but temporary. Freedom from suffering, however, is like the open sky, allowing both joy and pain to pass without disturbing inner peace. This is why the Buddha emphasized liberation from craving rather than the endless pursuit of pleasure. If the true goal is not simply happiness, but freedom from suffering, the next step is learning how to live in that direction. For this, the Buddha offered a practical guide known as the Noble Eightfold Path. Chapter 6. A Practical Path. How can ordinary people, with jobs, families, and daily responsibilities, follow the path taught by Gautama Buddha to reduce suffering? The beauty of the Noble Eightfold Path is that it is deeply practical. It offers a balanced guide that can be applied in everyday life, no matter who you are or where you live. You don't need to become a monk or withdraw from the world. The path meets you exactly where you are. Often called the middle way, it avoids extreme indulgence on one side and harsh self-denial on the other. Instead, it encourages a balanced way of living, one rooted in ethical behavior, mindful awareness, and clear understanding. By gradually cultivating these qualities in daily life, suffering begins to lessen, and a deeper sense of well-being naturally grows. Let's now explore how each of the 8 factors of the path can be practiced in the modern world.
Chapter 7. Right View. Right view, samaditthi, is about seeing life clearly and wisely, without distortion. It means understanding the 4 noble truths, recognizing that life includes suffering, dukkha, that much of it comes from attachment and craving, and that freedom becomes possible when this is understood and released. In practical terms, right view is the development of a realistic and honest mindset. It means valuing truth over comfort and seeing things as they are, rather than how we wish them to be. It also includes understanding that all things are impermanent. Status, possessions, relationships, and identities all change over time. Clinging to them as permanent inevitably leads to dissatisfaction. Right view also involves recognizing the principle of cause and effect in our actions, how our choices shape our experiences and influence others. In daily life, this can be developed through reflection, learning from experience, and questioning our assumptions instead of reacting automatically. For example, when facing difficulties, right view helps us pause and see the situation more clearly. This too will pass. My actions have consequences, and others are also struggling in their own way. This perspective reduces emotional reactivity and creates space for wiser responses. In this way, right view becomes the foundation of the entire path. It shifts how we interpret life itself, leading to greater clarity, balance, and understanding.
Chapter 8. Right Intention. Right intention Samma sankappa is the motivation behind our actions. If right view is the compass, right intention is the direction we choose to move in. Gautama Buddha described 3 core intentions as right: letting go, goodwill, and harmlessness. Letting go means reducing selfish craving and attachment. Goodwill means cultivating kindness instead of anger or ill will. Harmlessness means the intention to avoid causing suffering to others. In daily life, right intention can be practiced by becoming more conscious of what drives your actions. For example, before starting your day or entering a situation, you might set a simple intention: to act with honesty, patience, and kindness. This helps align your inner attitude with your values. When challenges arise, right intention becomes especially important. If someone irritates or harms you, the usual reaction may be anger or revenge. But right intention gently shifts the response. May I not add more harm to this situation? Over time, this weakens reactive patterns and strengthens compassion. In this way, intentions become like seeds. What you repeatedly intend begins to shape your character. By consistently nurturing letting go, kindness, and harmlessness, your thoughts and actions naturally move toward greater peace and balance.
Chapter 9. Right Speech. Right speech, or samma vacha, brings the practice of the path into our communication. Words are powerful. They can heal, build trust, or deeply harm others. Gautama Buddha taught that right speech involves avoiding lies, harmful gossip, harsh or abusive language, and pointless chatter that serves no real purpose. Instead, it encourages speech that is truthful, kind, timely, and meaningful. In today's world, this also includes how we communicate online. Messages, emails, and social media posts all fall under the same principle. In daily life, practicing right speech begins with a simple pause before speaking or sending a message and asking, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? This small reflection can completely change how we communicate. It does not mean avoiding honesty or never giving feedback. Even criticism can be expressed in a respectful and constructive way. For example, instead of gossiping about a colleague, right speech encourages addressing issues directly and calmly. At home, it may mean choosing patience over reactive words during moments of anger. Over time, right speech creates more trust, reduces conflict, and brings greater peace into both relationships and daily interactions.
Chapter 10. Right Action. Right action, samma kammanta, refers to living ethically through our physical behavior. Gautama Buddha emphasized 3 core principles: avoiding harm to living beings, not taking what is not given, and practicing responsible and respectful conduct in relationships. In modern life, right action means living with integrity in everyday choices, respecting life, being honest in dealings, and avoiding actions that cause harm to others or to oneself. It also includes being mindful of habits that can create suffering, such as reckless behavior or harmful addictions. In practice, this can look very simple but powerful: choosing compassion when dealing with small living beings instead of harming them, being honest in financial or professional matters, and making choices that reduce harm wherever possible. In relationships, it means acting with respect, responsibility, and care, ensuring that others are never used or hurt for personal gain. At its core, right action is about alignment between values and behavior. When your actions reflect your inner sense of integrity, life becomes clearer and lighter. Even difficult decisions, when made with the intention to reduce harm, bring a sense of peace and self-respect.
Conclusion. Across all these teachings, a clear pattern emerges. Most of what we call happiness is temporary relief from discomfort, not a lasting solution to suffering. We chase success, pleasure, and achievement, believing they will complete us, but they constantly change, fade, and shift. Even at the highest levels of wealth, fame, or knowledge, people often still feel a quiet sense of incompleteness. This suggests that something deeper than external success is being sought. Gautama Buddha pointed to a different direction entirely. Instead of chasing endless satisfaction, he emphasized understanding the nature of suffering itself, how it arises from craving, attachment, and misunderstanding. Through the Four Noble Truths, he reframed life not as a pursuit of constant happiness, but as a journey of awareness and liberation from the causes of inner restlessness. The Noble Eightfold Path then offers a practical way of living this understanding in daily life. Through wisdom, intention, speech, action, and mindfulness, a person gradually reduces harm, confusion, and craving. Life does not become perfect or free from challenges, but the relationship to those challenges changes completely. Suffering loses its grip when the mind is no longer constantly resisting or clinging. In the end, the purpose of life shifts from chasing happiness to cultivating clarity, compassion, and inner freedom. When craving is understood and softened, a quieter and more stable form of peace naturally arises, one not dependent on conditions, but rooted in deep awareness.
Subscribe and awaken your mind with Wisdom Kingdom.